Hey everyone, I'm back and today we're going to be talking about The Godfather, this one right here. This is part one out of this collection. And this movie is directed by Francis Ford Coppola, who directed all of these movies, and he's also done Apocalypse Now, my favorite war movie ever. And this movie is interesting to me because I have a bit of history with this movie. This is the fourth time I've seen it, and from each viewing, I've come to appreciate this movie, and upon watching it this time, I really loved it, but I really want to go back to the first time I saw it, and I think it was 18 when I saw this movie for the first time, and it was a movie that was like, this big movie to me, and it was in this exact case, or sorry, box. It was in this exact box set, and I was always wondering, what is this movie? This looks interesting. It's like because it was considered to be the greatest movie ever made, next to Citizen Kane, and it was something that I always wanted to watch, but I never committed to watching it because I was just waiting for the right time, and it was like 3 hours long. So it's a movie you kind of had to plan your day around, and I watched it with my family, and I'll be honest, I didn't really get it, and part of that is because I didn't understand much of what was happening because I wasn't familiar with like any mafia movies. It was like the first one I've seen, and I had no idea what was going on, and I actually didn't like it, to be honest. And I can't exactly tell you why, but eventually, sometime, like a few years later, I came back to this movie and saw it for a second time, and I thought it was much better, and I had a better understanding of what was going on, and the third time I watched it, I thought it was really, really good, and this time watching it, I fell in love with it, and I would say it's officially one of my favorite movies now. And one of the things that I love about this movie is how well it sets up its characters, and the plot is really something that you need to pay attention to, and it goes down directions that you have no reason to expect it to go down in certain directions, and there's twists, there's turns, and the characters are really interesting, and there's some really effective scenes in this movie, and it makes you feel all sorts of emotions. It makes you kind of enjoy what's going on, and you're having a good time. At other points, it's shocking. Other points, it's sad, and honestly, this is a pretty sad movie to me, and the reason for that is because of what happens, and I'm not going to spoil what happens, but this movie does get pretty sad at points. One thing that bothered me when I was really young watching it for the first time, and probably was one of the big reasons as to why I didn't like it the first time I watched it, was I thought that there were too many characters, and it made the story kind of hard to follow for me. And there was a lot going on, and I just couldn't keep track as to what was happening. That's not a problem I have right now, but that was definitely an issue that I had before, and this movie is pretty slow, and while I do kind of criticize the movie for being a little too slow for my liking for the first half of the movie, I don't really take off points for it because I do feel as though the movie makes up for it, and the first half of the movie, I was like, okay, where's this going again? Because I remembered a couple scenes from memory as to what happens in this movie, but I didn't remember the whole thing. And there were certain things I could obviously see coming, but even the stuff that I saw coming, it was still really effective and well done. And there's lots of great scenes in this movie, and as the movie goes along, it gets better and better for me, and I would say the second half is definitely the best part of the movie for me. And I didn't feel as though the second half was slow at all, and I thought everything was perfectly balanced in that second half, and that first half was a little bumpy for me, but eventually the movie does really get going, and the story really kicks into full gear, and it just doesn't stop for me. And I love how many characters there are, and it makes it feel as though it's like a big saga. I love how big this movie is. And when I say that, I don't mean like a Marvel movie. I mean as in, it makes you feel as though there's a lot to this story, and I think it's really satisfying where it ends up. And a quick side note, when I say where it ends up, I mean by the end of this movie, not the series. I haven't even mentioned the performances in this movie. I think they're all excellent. Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, and everyone else. There's not one bad performance in this entire movie, and I would have to say that out of all of the characters in this series, I would say Vito Corleone would definitely be my favorite. I find his character to be the most interesting, and I love what Marlon Brando does for the character. And I just think it's really great. I find Vito to be the most interesting, and whenever he's on screen, that's definitely a highlight for me. The music in this movie is really great. It really adds a lot to the movie for me, and I'm sure you all know it. It's iconic. And this movie is a classic, and it's for a reason. There's lots of great things in this movie. Definitely check this movie out if you haven't already. It's one of my favorites after watching it 4 times. Who knows, maybe you'll love it more on your first viewing than I did. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Godfather a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Godfather down below. And my social media links, they will all be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Lost in Translation. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.